Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theruvan Saranai. Good evening, Venerable Mahasangha, Sayales and brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today we will be starting a new chapter, a new Matika, Upādiṇṇa Tika. So first we will look at the three terms that belong to this Matika. Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā states that are both grasped and favorable to grasping. Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā states that are not grasped at but are favorable to grasping. Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā dhammā states that are neither grasped at nor favorable to grasping. Before we talk about the first term, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā, let's talk about Upādiṇṇa. So Upādiṇṇa refers to clingings. The four Upādiṇṇa are Kāma Upādiṇṇa, Diṭṭhi Upādiṇṇa, Sīlabbata Upādiṇṇa, and Atthavāda Upādiṇṇa. Kāma Upādiṇṇa is basically the Lobha Cetasika or Tanha. That means the greed mental factor. It refers to clinging to sensual pleasures. Diṭṭhi Upādiṇṇa, Sīlabbata, and Atthavāda Upādiṇṇa. These three are different forms of diṭṭhi or wrong views mental factor. And diṭṭhi refers to clinging to wrong views. Sīlabbata refers to clinging to various rites and rituals or ceremonies, thinking that they will result in liberation, but in fact they are not the correct path. Atthavāda Upādiṇṇa refers to clinging to a doctrine of self, as I, me, mine. Now let's look at the term Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā. This word, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā, is actually two words put together, Upādiṇṇa and Upādāniyā. So it is important to know the meanings of each of these words, because we take the individual meanings of both of these words to get the ultimate realities that come under this term. So the word Upādiṇṇa means grasped at, and Upādāniyā means favorable to grasping. This is the description given in the Atthasālinī. I will first read it out and then I will elaborate on it further. In the triplet of grasped and favorable to grasping, the word grasped means seized as effect by a kamma, attended by craving and wrong view, in the act of sensing or thinking of an object. Right, now let's see what it means. Grasped, that is Upādiṇṇa, means seized as effect by a kamma. Now, we have different types of kamma. We have mundane kamma, we have supramundane kamma. Now, here the type of kamma that is referred to are the mundane kamma. And usually, why do we get these mundane kamma? Why do mundane kamma arise? It is because we are still Putujjana. We have not reached the state of enlightenment. So we will continuously generate these mundane kamma. So these mundane kamma, whether they are wholesome or unwholesome, there is an underlying reason for these kamma to arise. And one of these reasons are Upādiṇṇa. That is why it is mentioned here as a kamma attended by craving and wrong view. Here, craving and wrong view are with reference to Upādiṇṇa. So when a certain kamma is thinking about or sensing a certain object, it is attended by Upādiṇṇa, craving and wrong view. It may not be present as a mental factor within that, together with that consciousness, because, for instance, the wholesome consciousness will not have the Upādiṇṇa arising together with it. But the upadana may be an underlying cause for those mundane kusala, the wholesome consciousness to arise. So this kamma, the mundane kamma, will cease as effect a certain ultimate realities. Those would be the mundane vipaka, chitta cetasika, and the kammaja rupa. So the ceased as effect by a kamma attended by craving and wrong view, that is the upadana in the act of sensing or thinking of an object, is the meaning of Upādiṇṇa. Now we'll move on to Upādiṇṇa. Upādiṇṇa means favorable to grasping because of the connection with grasping by having become objects. The term is applied to objects of grasping. Right, now let me elaborate further. Favorable to grasping means we have the 4 upadana: kama, ditti, silabbata, and attavada. Now these 4 upadana will always arise only in terms of a certain object. So you will not have any consciousness or mental factors arising without an object. So these upadana will always have a certain object to think about, or to sense. So these upadana can have certain objects, can grasp certain objects. And those are the mundane consciousness, mental factors, and rupa, material. So all the mundane consciousness, mental factors, and rupa are called favorable to grasping because they can act as objects. They can become objects for the upadana. So that is why they are called upadāniyā. So in other words, upādāniyā means they can become objects, or they are favorable as becoming objects to the upadana. Then next, effects grasped and favorable to grasping, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā, is a name given to material and mental states born of kamma attended by intoxicants, asavas. Now what has happened? We have combined the 2 terms, Upādiṇṇa and Upādāniyā, to get the 3rd sentence, that is effects grasped and favorable to grasping. Now we need to combine the 2 and see what are the things that will fall under this category. Upādiṇṇa. It has to be both Upādiṇṇa and it has to be Upādāniyā. So Upādiṇṇa means grasped at. You will get only the mundane vipaka, chitta cetasika, the resultant consciousness and mental factors, and you will get the kammaja, rupa, and upachaya santati. So those are the things that we will get under this first term. It may seem a bit complicated, but we will elaborate more and more in the next couple of slides. So don't worry too much about it. Right. So here we are describing further about the same term, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. So first we take Upādiṇṇa. Upādiṇṇa again comprises of a prefix upa and the word ādiṇṇa. Ādiṇṇa means to take, taking, and upa means grasp. So when you put the 2 together, Upādiṇṇa refers to grasp strongly. And the 4 upadana we mentioned before, kama, ditti, silabbata, and attavada. So kama refers to tanha or lobha, cetasika, and ditti, silabbata, and attavada are 3 different forms of ditti cetasika. So Upādiṇṇa means the effects of a kamma, not any kamma, a kamma where the object was grasped strongly by upadana, the clingings of tanha and ditti. So the 4 Upādana which we mentioned before. So what are these Upādiṇṇa Dhamma? They are the mundane Vipaka Chitta Cetasika, the resultants, and the Kammaja Rupa. Now, what is not mentioned here are Upachaya Santati. They too should be included under the ultimate realities of Upādiṇṇa. Next, Upādāniyā. Upādāniyā again comprises of the prefix Upa and followed by the term Ādāniyā. So here what refers to is everything that is grasped strongly by craving and wrong view as I, me, mine, etc. So here, this includes everything, all the mundane Chitta Cetasika and Rupa. Now compare the two. The two are not the same. In the first one, Upādiṇṇa, we took only the mundane Vipaka Chitta Cetasika. Whereas under Upādāniyā, we take all the mundane Chitta Cetasika. That means the mundane wholesome, the mundane unwholesome, the mundane functionals, resultants, all 4 categories are taken under Upādāniyā, whereas under Upādiṇṇa, we take only the mundane Vipaka Chitta Cetasika and only part of the Rupa, only the Kammaja Rupa. But the remaining Rupa, the Chittaja, Utuja, Aharaja Rupa are considered together with Kammaja under Upādāniyā. So all of the mundane the consciousness, mental factors, Rupa are classified under Upādāniyā. Then finally, Anupādiṇṇa means the negative of Upādāniyā, Upādiṇṇa. Upādiṇṇa, Anupādiṇṇa. When you add A to Upādiṇṇa, you get the negative sense. So this refers to not results accumulated by kamma, of which the object was grasped strongly by Upādāna. So what are Anupādiṇṇa? Anupādiṇṇa refers to everything outside what we took as Upādiṇṇa. So we took the mundane Chitta Cetasika and the Kammaja Rupa under Upādiṇṇa. Everything else will fall under Anupādiṇṇa. So what is everything else? You have the remaining mundane wholesome, kusala, mundane, the unwholesome, the mundane kriya, the functionals, and the mental factors, and you get the remaining rupa, chittaja, utuja, aharaja, rupa, and also upachaya, santati, jarata, anicchata. So these are all Anupādiṇṇa. Now you mustn't forget, now we were talking only about the mundane ultimate realities. The supramundane ultimate realities also fall under this. So we will get the 8 consciousness, supramundane consciousness, and 36 mental factors, and Nibbana also will be classified under Anupādiṇṇa. So basically what we are doing is if you draw a table, you will get Upādiṇṇa and Anupādiṇṇa on the row side. And the column side, if you have Upādāniyā and Anupādāniyā on the 2 sides, we can draw a small box and put the relevant ultimate realities, which we will show you after a couple more slides, so that it will make it more clear to you. Now we will move to Nikhepa Khandam description of Upādiṇṇupādāniyā Dhamma. Katame Dhamma Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. Which are the states that are both grasped at and favorable to grasping? Sāsava kusala kusalanam dhammanam vipaka. The co-intoxicant results of wholesome and unwholesome states. Now here the word sāsava, we will talk about what this sāsava means in the next couple of slides. But in general, they are the mundane Dhamma. Sāsava means mundane Dhamma. And kusala kusalanam dhammana vipaka. the resultants of kusala and akusala dhamma, wholesome and unwholesome dhamma. And what are these? These resultants belong to the kamavachara, rupavachara, and arupavachara spheres, the sense sphere, fine material, and immaterial spheres. And they comprise of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, the four aggregates, the four mental aggregates of feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Yancha rupam kammassa katatta. Such form, moreover, as is due to kamma having been wrought. In other words, the kammaja rupa. Ime dhamma, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. These are the states that are both grasped at and favorable to grasp. Yes, before we go to this slide, I would like to go a few slides forward. Yes, and I just want to come to this table. Now, this table, what we have done is we have broken down the terms Upādiṇṇa, Anupādiṇṇa, Upādāniyā, and Anupādāniyā. So, along the rows, we have broken down it into Upādiṇṇa and Anupādiṇṇa, and along the columns are Upādāniyā and Anupādāniyā. So, basically, everything mundane is classified as Upādāniyā. Everything supramundane is Anupādāniyā. So we'll break it down that way first. Everything mundane is Upādāniyā. That means it is favorable to grasping. Anupādāniyā means it is not favorable to grasping. Now, the mundane Dhamma can be further subdivided as Upādiṇṇa and Anupādiṇṇa. Upādiṇṇa means they are the effects of the kamma that were attended by the upadana when thinking about that certain object. So which means they are the results, which are the mundane vipaka chitta cetasika, the kammaja rupa, and upachaya santati. Everything else that didn't come here, the mundane things, will fall under Anupādiṇṇa. Those are the kusala, mundane kusala, akusala, the cetasika, the kriya, and we have duplication of cetasika here. I'm sorry about that. And chittaja, utuja, aharaja, rupa, and the four characteristics, which are upachaya, santati, jarata, and anicchata. So all of these will fall under Upādiṇṇa. Not only Upādiṇṇa, they are Anupādiṇṇa, Upādāniyā. So how we read this table is, the first one is Upādiṇṇa, Upādāniyā. The second one is Anupādiṇṇa, Upādāniyā. And then jumping onto this side, this is Anupādiṇṇa, Anupādāniyā. So I think now it will be more clear to you as to what Upādiṇṇupādāniyā means. Because we are subdividing the Upādāniyā Dhamma into Upādiṇṇa and Anupādiṇṇa, that is why we took only this part as Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. So now we come to the term asava. Now it was mentioned, the word sasava was mentioned. So first we'll talk about the word asava, and this is the description given in Comprehensive Manual of Abhidhamma, which is by Bhikkhu Bodhi. The word asava means something that flows out. So in Pali, how it is described is as pus oozing out of an abscess, or intoxicants, or spirits, or alcohols, which have been fermented for a long time. And it is defilements that are classified as these intoxicants or asavas, because they are similar in nature to pus oozing or fermented intoxicants. And the commentaries also state that these asavas are called thus because they flow right up to the topmost planes of existence. So the asavas are not limited to the lower planes, like the four apayas or the hells. They also exist in the higher planes of existence, like the Rupavachara, Arupavachara, the Brahma planes, the fine material spheres and the immaterial sphere. So these intoxicants reach to the topmost plane. It is also described as because they flow up to the change of lineage, Gotrabhu. Now, what is this? Gotrabhu is where, when a person is walking along the path and the person is about to get the Magga Chitta, the path consciousness. The consciousness that is immediately before it is a Kamavachara, a sense sphere, Mahakusala Chitta, a sense sphere, Jnana Samprayukta Kusala Chitta. That is a wholesome sense sphere, wholesome consciousness, which is associated with wisdom. Now, this Chitta is the last Chitta of that person, which is considered as Putujjana or a worldling existence prior to becoming a stream enterer. So that is the Gotrabhu Chitta, before the Chitta which comes before the Magga Chitta. So there's a change of lineage from Putujjana to Arya. So from a worldling to a person, a stream enterer. So this, the asavas are said to flow right up to that point where the change of lineage occurs. So there are 4 such asavas, and out of the 4, we have Lobha and Moha, Lobha, Ditti and Moha coming as mental factors. And we will talk about those 4 in the next slide. So what are these asava? This is the Nikkepa Khandang, the summary section of the Dhammasaṅgaṇī, which describes what asava is. And this comes under the Dukkamatika, the couplets. Katame Dhamma asava, Chattaro asava. So what are the asava or intoxicants? There are 4 intoxicants: Kāmasava, Bhavasava, Ditthāsava, and Avijjāsava. Kāmasava means intoxicant of sensual desires. This is the Lobha Cetasika. Bhavasava is the intoxicant of rebirth. Again, Lobha Cetasika. Ditthāsava, intoxicant of wrong view, and that is Ditti Cetasika. And Avijjāsava is the intoxicant of ignorance. This is the Moha Cetasika. So Kāmasava and Bhavasava is, in other words, the Lobha Cetasika, and Ditthāsava is Ditti, Avijjāsava is Moha Cetasika. And these are the 4 asava dhamma. Now we come to the word sāsava. And again, here, this is the Nikkepa Khandang description, Katame Dhamma sāsava, which are the states that can be taken by intoxicants. Kusala Kusalabhyakatha Dhamma. Now, this word, Kusala, Akusala, Abhyakata, the 3 words are combined together to make Kusala Kusalabhyakatha Dhamma. So when we break it down, we get wholesome, unwholesome, indeterminate states belonging to Kāmavachara, the sense sphere, Rupavachara, fine material sphere, and Arupavachara, immaterial spheres. And what are they? The 5 aggregates: Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, Khandha. Ime Dhamma sāsava. These are the states that can have or can be taken by intoxicants. Now, this basically means that now you have the 4 intoxicants, And what can basically be a sort of like can be an object to this asava dhamma. So the asavas are lobha, ditthi, and moha. They are mental factors. And these mental factors will take objects when they are thinking. So when a certain consciousness is thinking, it will take objects. So these objects, when it comes to sasava, are the mundane, kusala, akusala, and abhyakata, indeterminate. So indeterminate means mundane, vipaka, and kriya, resultants and functional. So everything mundane basically is what is considered as sasava. So these states, all the mundane states, whether they are kusala, akusala, vipaka, kriya, whether they are rupa, all of these act as objects for these intoxicants. That is why they are called sasava dhamma. Yes, so basically sasava would include the mundane, that is kamavachara, rupavachara, and arupavachara dhamma. And they are the mundane, wholesome, kusala, unwholesome, akusala, vipaka, the resultants, kriya, functionals, and the 28 rupa. So everything mundane is included under sasava dhamma. Now we move on to the Atthakatha Khandang description of Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhamma. Kathame dhamma Upādiṇṇupādāniyā, which are the states that are both grasped at and favorable to grasping. Tisu bhumisu vipako, the resultants belonging to the three planes of existence. And what are these three? Kamavachara, rupavachara, and arupavachara. The three mundane spheres. Yancha rupam kammassa katatta, such form, moreover, as is due to kamma having been wrought. So katatta, katatta rupa are another name given to kammaja rupa. Ime dhamma Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. These are the states that are both grasped at and favorable to grasping. Now, these are the analytical states that we get under Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhamma. We get the 32 mundane vipaka. Why are there 32? Now, we know that there are in total 36 vipaka chitta. And out of them, 4 are supramundane. So when we deduct 4 from 36, we are left with 32 mundane vipaka. And we get 35. Yes, 35 chetasika. Why 35? Because none of the mundane vipaka can have virati. Now, if you think about the appamanya, some rupavachara, fine material sphere consciousness can have appamanya. For example, if it's a karuna jhana, a person develops a karuna jhana and is born as a Brahma in the fine material sphere, that pratisandhi chitta, or the chitta that arises when that particular Brahma is born, will be a chitta that will contain karuna chetasika. So likewise, karuna and mudita can occur in those fine material sphere vipaka chittas. And we get 18 kammaja rupa and upachaya and santati. Now we will talk further about these rupa in the next couple of slides. But for now, just remember, under Upādiṇṇupādāniyā dhamma, we get 32 mundane vipaka and 35 chetasika, 18 kammaja rupa, along with upachaya and santati. Now, this is a table that gives us the 28 rupa, and we have broken them down into 2 groups, 18 nippanna rupa, or concretely produced matter, and the 10 anippanna rupa, the non-concrete matter. Let's look at the 18 nippanna rupa. So first we have the four great essentials or the Mahabhuta, that is Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, earth, wind, fire, and air. And then we have the Pasada Rupa, the sensitive phenomena. Those are the Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya. The five sensitivities: eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. Then we have the Bhava Rupang, the sexual phenomena, Itti and Purisa Rupang, femininity and masculinity, Hadevattu, the heart phenomenon, that is Hade Rupang, the heart base, Jivita Indriya, life faculty, Kabalinkara Aharo, nutriment. And then we have the Gochara Rupa, objective phenomena, Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa. And Puttabha is basically the same Mahabhuta that we spoke of before, Patavi, Tejo, Vayu. There's no Apo here, only Patavi, Tejo, Vayu, earth, fire, and air. The Gochara Rupa act as objects for the sensitive phenomena, the Prasada Rupa. Now, those are the 18 concretely produced matter, or the Nippanna Rupa. The Anippanna Rupa, the non-concrete matter, we have Akasa Dhatu, which is also called Paricheda Rupa, space element. Then we have Vinyati, the communicating phenomena, the Kaya Vinyati and Vachi Vinyati, that is bodily and vocal intimation. We have Vikara Rupam. There are three: Rupasa Lahuta, Mudita, and Kammanyata, that is lightness, malleability, and wieldiness. And we have four Lakkana Rupam, characteristics of matter. These are the Rupasa Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, and Anicchata. The production, continuity, decay, and impermanence. Now, the four, out of these four, Lakkana Rupa, Upachaya and Santati are called Jati Rupa. So when you hear the term Jati, Rupa Jati, or birth of Rupa, what is referred to here is Upachaya and Santati. Now we move on to Rupa Samuttana, or the origination of matter. Now there are four reasons or four modes of origin of matter. So the reasons for matter to originate are Kamma, Chitta, Uttu, and Ahara. Kamma meaning the wholesome and unwholesome Kamma. Chitta, consciousness in general. Uttu, temperature, and Ahara, nutriment. This is an extract from Abhidhammatthasaṅgaha, and it gives here the different numbers of rupa that each of these four modes of origin gives rise to. So Kamma gives rise to 18 rupa, consciousness 15, temperature 13, and nutriment 12. So Kamma, Chitta, Utuja, and Aharaja gives 18, 15, 13, and 12 rupa respectively. And it is explained that the characteristics, which are Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, Anicchata, are not produced by any of these modes of origin, because their intrinsic nature consists because of their existence itself. So for instance, if a certain rupa arises, it will decay, it will be impermanent. So those characteristics of Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, Anicchata are there because they exist. They will not be there if they do not exist. They are basically their intrinsic characteristics. And it is not because they originate from a certain cause. It is because of the fact that the rupas are there. The presence of the rupa itself will give rise to these intrinsic characteristics. So for that reason, these four, Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, and Anicchata, are not considered as either Kamma, Chitta, Utuja, or Aharaja rupa. So that is why we talk about them separately. They are not considered as originating from any of these four modes. Now, this table gives us the four different modes of origination: the kammaja, chittaja, utuja, and aharaja. Now, again, under kammaja and chittaja, we have another subdivision: ekanta kammaja, anekanta kammaja. And under chittaja, ekanta chittaja, and anekanta chittaja. Now, let's see what those are as well. Now, first we'll look at the kammaja rupa. There are 18 kammaja rupa. Ekanta kammaja. Ekanta means they are exclusively kamma born. There are 9 such rupa. This means that those 9 rupa will not be born due to any of the other 3 modes. They are exclusively kamma born. So there is no other cause or no other mode that these 9 can arise from. So what are these 9? They are the 5 pasada rupam, the sensitivities, the 2 bhava rupam, the itti and purisa rupam, the sex faculties, the jivita rupam, life faculty, and hade vatu, the heart base. And now these 9 can't exist on their own. There are other rupa that should arise along with them. And these are the 9 anekanta, or the not exclusively kamma born. They are the 8 inseparables, the Shuddhashtaka, and space. So, anekanta means they are not exclusively kamma born. That means they can arise even by the other modes, the chittaja, utuja, and aharaja modes. Next, we come to chittaja. Chittaja, there are 15 rupa. And we get 2 ekanta, 2 exclusively consciousness born. They are the 2 viññāti rupa, the communicating phenomena. That is the kaya viññāti and the vaci viññāti. And there are anekanta, 13 anekanta. These are the 8 inseparables: space, sound, rupasa, lahuta, mudita, and kammanyata. Those 15 comprise of chittaja rupa. Next, we have utuja and aharaja. Now, it's very easy to remember this. Now, if you know what comes under chittaja rupa, you take the anekanta chittaja rupa and you take out, you take those 13 and you get the utuja rupa. The same 13 that you got under anekanta chittaja will be the 13 utuja rupa. And then from these 13, when you take out sound, you get the 12 aharaja rupa. And these are the 4 modes of production of rupa: the kammaja, chittaja, utuja, and aharaja rupa. So here, as you can see, the 4 characteristics, that's upachaya, santati, jarata, and anicchata, do not arise from any of these 4 causes. Now we come to the Upādiṇṇa rupa. So Upādiṇṇa rupa, there are 20, but there are only 18 kammaja rupa. So how did we get 20? Apart from these 18 kammaja rupa, we get the addition of rupasa, upachaya, and santati, production and continuity added on along with these kammaja rupa, because basically the kamma, the mundane, wholesome or unwholesome karma, they basically determine when these rupa will arise. Now, if you take, for example, panchavokara existence, let's say a human being who is born. So when a human being at the time of conception, they get at the moment of conception consciousness, the patisandhi chitta. Along with that, there are 3 dasaka kalapa that arises together with that consciousness. And those are the hadaya, the Kaya Dasaka, Vattu Dasaka, and Bhava Dasaka. So there are 30 matter arising at that moment. The Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jibha, those Dasaka will not arise at the moment of conception, but as the fetus matures, at the right time, when the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, those sensations, those organs are formed, then those kammaja rupa will arise. So the timing of these, the production of these rupa are basically kind of predetermined, right? So, but they don't arise. You don't call them kammaja rupa. The timing is just the timing will be dependent on the kamma, but you can't call them kammaja rupa because they are basically characteristics only. However, because they arise as a result of these wholesome and unwholesome, mundane kamma, we call them Upādiṇṇa rupa. So therefore, we have 20 Upādiṇṇa rupa, the 18 kammaja rupa, and Upachaya Santati. Then what about Jarata and Anicchata? No, Jarata and Anicchata will occur in any rupa that arises will decay and is subject to impermanence, whether it is kammaja, chittaja, utuja, or aharja, regardless of the mode, it will decay. It will be impermanent. There is nothing that can stop it. So it is not dependent on any mode. Therefore, we don't classify Jarata and Anicchata under this classification. So again, Jati Rupa, the Jati Rupa refers to Upachaya and Santati. Jati means birth. Now we come to the Anupādiṇṇa rupa. So what is Anupādiṇṇa? Anupādiṇṇa rupa refers to everything that was not considered under Upādiṇṇa. So everything that is not Upādiṇṇa would be Anupādiṇṇa. So we get 19 such rupa. Now how did we get 19? We get the 15 chittaja, 13 uttuja, 12 aharaja. Now remember, there is an overlap. So all 13 of the Uttuja Rupa are also, you would see them coming under Chittaja. Similarly, all the 12 Aharaja also you'll be seeing coming under Uttuja and Chittaja. So those 15 plus the 4 characteristics, Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, Anicchata. Altogether we get 19. Now you must be wondering, we took Upachaya and Santati under Upādiṇṇa rupa. However, remember, even under Chittaja, Uttuja, and Aharaja, the Upachaya and Santati is part and parcel even there. So even under Chittaja, there is a timing. There is a Upachaya of those rupa. So the Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, Anicchata, that is relevant to the Chittaja, Uttuja, and Aharaja rupa, will come under Anupādiṇṇa rupa. So what do we get? We get 19, those are the 2 Viññāti rupa, the 18 inseparable, space, sound, rupasa, lahuta, muduta, kammanyata, and Upachaya, Santati, Jarata, and Anicchata. Now we come to the next term, Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā, states that are not grasped at, but are favorable to grasping. Again, like the first term, this term is also formed by the combination of 2 terms, Anupādiṇṇa and Upādāniyā. The first one was Upādiṇṇa and Upādāniyā. Now we have added the prefix A to Upādiṇṇa to make it Anupādiṇṇa, and we have added Upādāniyā. So basically here, Anupādiṇṇa refers to not grasped at, however, favorable to grasping, Upādāniyā. Now the Nikkhepa Khandam description of Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā. Katame Dhamma Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā, which are the states that are not grasped but are favorable to grasping. Sāsava kusala dhamma kāmāvachara rūpāvachara arūpāvachara. Sāsava, as I mentioned, sāsava are basically in short the mundane. Kusala dhamma, wholesome and unwholesome dhamma. Kāmāvachara, rūpāvachara, arūpāvachara. Kāmāvachara, the sense sphere, fine material sphere, and arūpāvachara, immaterial sphere. These are the four aggregates of Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijñāna. Feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Yecha dhamma kiriya, neva kusala, na kusala, nacha kamma vipaka. The states which are called kriya, functional states, which are not wholesome, not unwholesome, nor are they kamma vipaka, results of kamma. Yancha rupam na kammassa katatta. So here na means not. So whatever rupa, whatever form that is not due to kamma, basically the rupa which are not kammaja rupa. Ime dhamma Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā. These are the states that are not grasped at but are favorable to grasping. So here under this Nikkepa Khanda, what we basically get are the mundane, kusala, akusala, kriya, and the rupa. We don't get the vipaka, and out of the rupa also we don't get the kammaja rupa, because the mundane vipaka and the kammaja rupa were classified under our first term, Upādiṇṇupādāniyā. So everything else that is remaining under the mundane category will fall under this second term. And now we move on to the Atthakatha Khandang description. Katame Dhamma Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā. Tisu bhumisu kusalang akusalang. Tisu bhumisu kiriyabhyakatang. The wholesome belonging to the three planes of existence. Unwholesome, the functionals belonging to the three planes of existence. Now, you must be wondering why this word tisu bhumisu is duplicated here. Tisu bhumisu kusala, and then in the middle there's akusala, and tisu bhumisu kiriyabhyakatang. This is because kusal or wholesome consciousness belong to three spheres. The Kāmāvachara, Rūpāvachara, and Arūpāvachara. Akusala is not so. All akusala are Kāmāvachara. Then again, when we come to Kiriya, the Kriya Chitta, they belong to the three planes, Kāmāvachara, Rūpāvachara, Arūpāvachara. So to separately, clearly mention that each of these belong to the different spheres. That is why this tisu bhumisu kusala, akusala, and again tisu bhumisu kiriyabhyakatang, it's mentioned separately, so that there will not be any confusion. Yancha rupang na kammassa katatta. Whatever form, whatever matter that is not due to kamma. So everything that is not kammaja will fall under Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā. Ime dhamma Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā. These are the states that are not grasped but are favorable to grasping. So what do we get under Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā dhamma? We get 17 mundane kusala chitta. And why is it 17? You know that there are 21 wholesome consciousness, and out of the 21, 4 are supramundane. So when you deduct 4 from 21, you are left with 17 mundane wholesome chitta. 12 akusala chitta, 20 kriya chitta, and 52 chetasika. And in addition, we get the 15 chittaja, 13 utuja, 12 aharaja, and the 4 characteristics of matter. And now we come to the last term, Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā dhammā. So this term comprises of 2 words, again like the previous 2 terms. Now we get the prefix a added to both, in front of both the words. Upādiṇṇa becomes Anupādiṇṇa. Upādāniyā becomes Anupādāniyā. So the term means not grasped at, nor favourable to grasping. Now this is the description given in the Atthasālinī. I will first read it out and then explain it. In the triplet on grasped at, although the body and mind in the personality of saints may cause others to grasp at, or things desired, as when it is said, our senior uncle the elder, or our junior uncle the elder, still a saint has not himself seized or wrongly handled or grasped at the paths, the fruits, or nibbana. And the example given here is, as a heated iron ball is not the cause of flies sitting thereon, so the plenitude of spiritual heat in path, fruit, nibbana is not the cause of anyone else seizing through his own craving, conceit, or wrong views. Hence, it has been said, these are the states which are neither grasped at nor favourable to grasping. Now, let's see what this paragraph really means. Now, we'll take the example of a saint, of an arahant. The arahant himself does not grasp at the path or the fruition consciousness or nibbana which he has experienced. The spiritual heat of that will not allow grasping. In addition, the arahants do not generate mundane consciousness which contain or which have Upādiṇṇa. They don't have Upādiṇṇa because they have completely eliminated their defilements. However, if you take the personality of that arahant or the body of that arahant, other individuals can look at this arahant and generate Upādiṇṇa. So that particular arahant, his panchakanda, can be the object of desire for another person. However, the path, fruit, and nibbana, the supramundane components, will never be subject to anybody with craving, conceit, or wrong views. So the example given here is, if you have a heated iron ball, flies will not get attracted to it. Flies will not just come and sit on it because it burns. It's heated. So likewise, the spiritual heat that is contained within this path, fruit, and nibbana will not allow it to be seized through craving, conceit, or wrong views. So the Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā dhammā will not be subject to the Upādāna. So the Nikkhepakandam description, 10.Dhammasaṅgaṇā apariyapanna magga cha maggaphalāni cha, the paths that are unincluded and the fruits of the paths, asaṅkhata ca dhātu, the unconditioned element, ime dhamma Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā. So in other words, what do we get here? We get the 4 supramundane paths and the 4 fruitions, as well as nibbana. And the Atthakatha Kandam description, 10.Dhammasaṅgaṇā chattaro magga apariyapanna chattaricha samanya phalāni. The 4 paths that are unincluded and the 4 fruits of the life of a recluse. Nibbanancha and Nibbana. So it's the same thing that is mentioned here, but using different words, because some people may understand matters in different ways. So this is why the same thing is mentioned in a different format using different terms. Ine Dhamma Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā. So the analytical states that we get under Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā Dhamma are the 4 Magga Chitta, 4 Phala Chitta, the 36 Cetasika and Nibbana. So now we come back to the table which we showed before, and this summarizes all 3 terms. The Upādiṇṇupādāniyā is this topmost box. Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā, the second term, is this box below it. And Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā Dhamma is this third box. So what we got on the Upādiṇṇupādāniyā were the 32 mundane vipaka together with the 35 Cetasika. We got 18 Kammaja Rupa and Upachaya and Santati. That was the first term. Under the second term, Anupādiṇṇupādāniyā, we got the remaining mundane ultimate realities, which were the mundane kusala, 17 of them, the 12 akusala, 52 Cetasika, the 20 kriya, and the chittaja, utuja, aharaja rupa, as well as the 4 characteristics, upachaya, santati, jarata, and anicchata. And then all the supramundane things fell under Anupādiṇṇaanupādāniyā, which were the 4 Magga, the 4 Phala Chitta, the 36 Cetasika, and Nibbana. So we come to the end, and I want to leave you with an exercise, and that is to categorize the analytical states of the Upādiṇṇa Tika according to Kanda, Ayatana, Dhatu, and Arya Satya. So I'm afraid we don't have time for questions, but we will take any questions. You can mail them to this email address, and I can give the answers to you personally, as well as we can talk about them during our next talk. And our next lesson will be on the 11th of August. It is now time to share merits. Akasatthacha bhummattha deva naga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu sāsanam. Chiran rakkantu desanam, chiran rakkantu mamparaṇa. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukitā huntu ñāteo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukitā huntu ñāteo. Idamme ñātīnaṁ hotu sukitā huntu ñāteo. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo satan samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Idam me punyang asavakya vaham hotu. Idam me punyang nibbānassa pacceo hotu. Mama punya bhagam sabba sattanam vājemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagam labantu. Buddha sāsanam chiran tiktatu. Buddha sāsanam chiran tiktatu. Buddha sāsanam chiran tiktatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Doctor. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
Thank you, Doctor.
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.